Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and in this video what I'd like to do is talk about 3 huge struggles I'm having in Grand Arena, and I'll kind of give you guys my perspective on why I'm struggling there and what I think it would solve if I did those things, because I've been doing a lot of reflection and looking at my Grand Arenas, and it's something that I do not only looking at my history for wins and losses, but I also try to look there to see what I could have done differently from an attacking perspective. And so hopefully this gives you guys some insight into what I'm thinking about with GAC, some of the problems I'm seeing in my account, and struggles that I'm going to be having and going through. So like this video, comment down below, guys, and I want to give a huge shout out to my channel members for their continued support. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. You all are amazing legends and scholars among you. If you're interested in channel memberships, there's a link in the description down below. Otherwise, you guys can subscribe to this channel that is free. We want to hit 10,000 subscribers. I don't know that I have a goal for that yet, as far as what we'll do when I hit 10K, but it'll be something cool, right? I promise it'll be something cool. So, like and subscribe. Let's get in. Alright, so let's start with Grand Arena, and I'm just going to go to this current round right now. So my skill rating, I am 1 win away from Kyber 1. This is the highest I've ever been. And I'm going to be plummeting like crazy because my current opponent is someone with 11.3. They've got 2 million more GP than me. And just a lot of stuff. A lot of good relic levels in here. I mean, relic 9s all over the place. Jedi Knight Cal, Dr. Afra. I mean, look at that. Relic 8 Marin. I think the only thing this account is missing is Reva. Yeah, they don't have Reva, so one solid thing for me, right? They don't have Reva. They just have everything else. And this is definitely what I call my soft max skill rating, where I really have trouble climbing above this 3,500 range, because once I get to this point, I have skill. I'm not going to say I'm the greatest GAC player of all time, not by any stretch, but I have skill, right? I'm obviously competing well above my GP every single week. So there's a measure of skill there, and that I get to a certain point where the players I'm facing have just as much skill as me, and they have more characters. So it's really hard to win. But this first round against Swamp Dog here, I ended up being able to win. But I wasn't able to full clear, and I just completely ran out of steam, right? I mean, completely ran out of steam on stuff. And it kind of got me thinking, I noticed this trend of, I've been running out of steam, or I've been having to do some really strange counters and stuff, and so I kind of got thinking with my GACs, why is this happening? And so I kind of have a couple of scenarios here that we'll go through. So the first one is, I have this trouble full clearing. And a lot of the reason I'm having trouble full clearing is because a lot of my opponents now have these Relic Tusken teams, or Dr. Afra, the Sonostaros team. They've got Zori to go with their resistance. And it's kind of really thrown me for a loop because there's limited counters there. And the counters that are there, I need to get through teams like Admiral Raddus or a Qui-Gon team or something, that I'm not able to do some of the things my opponents are because I simply don't have as broad of that roster. And so I definitely recognize this as a huge weakness right now. And this is kind of why I'm sticking on this. I don't know whether to go for Rey or go for GL Space Bonds, because I don't know who's going to help me more. If I got Rey, just say I could drop somebody into my roster today, right now. Rey today. If I could get Rey, that would give me Rey, plus I'll have the Zori team ready to go. And if I just drop them right into my Grand Arena defense, my opponents now can't go about facing me the same way. Because instead of it being 7 Galactic Legends to 6, it's 7 on 7. So now they not only need to worry about clearing Rey, but they've got to clear all my other stuff that they'd be able to use a Galactic Legend because they have this advantage over me. And at the same time, you're like, well, Phil, if you're having trouble full clearing and you're setting Rey and Zori on defense, that doesn't help your offensive problem. Well, it's going to keep my opponent from being able to set all of these high caliber teams down because they need to have counters for me. So that would be the one thing that I'm kind of looking at to see what Leia's requirements are. Because if her requirements are really, really bad and she's just good, there's a strong case for me that Rey makes more sense for my account. Because in the time I could get Rey, it won't take me that long at that point because I'll be hoarding gear and stuff like that. It won't take me that long to do that. So then I could start working on Leia probably before she's even out and still have Rey. I think that's a reasonable expectation for me to have with the resources I'm willing to invest in this. So, yeah, I'm definitely in this position of I just need to figure out who's going to help my account more between Rey and Rolla, or, GL Space Buns before I decide what I'm going to farm next. And then as far as like full clearing goes, I definitely need to figure out when I can farm some of these other things, right? I mean, Zori, if I farm Rey, I get her. That kind of solves that problem. But like the Tuskens, I've got Tusken Warrior, got to throw some gear on them. So definitely something I really need to think about. And, when you think like, oh, well, you'll have Sana Saros at Relics, if you get Dr. Aphra. Yes, but I won't have the team that goes with Sana at Relics, so I'll need to invest there. So there's a lot of investment I need to make here, and it's figuring out which ones are going to give me the most return on my investment. So that's kind of why I'm in this position of waiting around for stuff. And while I'm doing that, if there's one-off relics I can do, I'm in good shape, right? Which kind of brings me to this next point of like, when do I gear these guys? And I just picked 4 of these characters at random. But let's start with Admiral Trench. Admiral Trench will be a solid one-off, right? That's a solid one-off for me. I could throw him in with Separatists. My issue there, right? Truly, like this sounds so bad, but like my issue there, takes a ton of Kyra tech. And his optimal team takes Wat Tambor away from Sith Eternal. Now, I could still find a way to use a Separatist team without Trench, or without, like, Wat, right? But I then need to invest relics into somebody else, because I would have, I would need to invest relics into someone else, because I don't have a relic Geonosian, and my Asajj needs to stay with Night Sisters. So I just am kind of in this really, really weird place with Trench where I don't know. And he's really good, right? This is the thing. He's really good to be a one-off character, but then I'd need to do a Geonosian. And, if I'm going to do one single Geonosian at Relics and it's just one, it's probably going to be somebody like GBA. And then Jolee and Barriss would, for me, it would just increase my Jedi that I could use with different characters. I think Barriss for me would just be nice to. I could flex Jedi Master Luke on defense a little bit if I needed to. But I just think she would be a nice, solid flex option. And then, Jolee just would be revolutionary for my Jedi. If I could have Jolee against a lot of teams, I could take my Jedi Knight Revan out and still feel confident because I would have Jolee to bring people back if I needed to. And then L337 is really in this list because my Dash team is just really struggling on defense. I'm not getting I'm not getting any holds with it, and I would 1,000% attribute that to players not having to bring somebody who can ignore taunt to get to L3. I just am in this perpetual of when to gear, and this isn't so much of I don't have the resources to do all these guys at once, but I don't know when's a solid time to gear these characters because it's almost like I need to wait and see what Leia's requirements are, right? Like I'm in this whole thing is really just you drop Leia, you drop Leviathan. Like I can't commit any resources to stuff because you constantly are changing what we need. And like if you would at least tell us what the rest of the relic levels we would need for Leia, that would let me decide what I could do here. But yeah, I really am struggling to figure out when to gear these characters. I really don't know. And like especially I look at Trench and L3 as the kind of two that I really, really want out of this list. Like Jolee and Barriss would be really nice luxury to have, but Trench and L3 are looking more and more like I really, really need them if I want to be serious about competing in GAC and forcing my opponents to have to bring higher caliber stuff on offense and or defense. And then this last one here is really about my Hutt Cartel and about some of my Galactic Legends. Does it make more sense for my account to have Relic 8s on Luke and Vader or invest in my Hutt Cartel up to Relic 7? And I kind of think of this in a couple, there's other Relic 8s I would do, but those are the two big Galactic Legends that I would take to Relic 8. And, the reason I think this, and I'd probably throw Kylo even on the list of Relic 8, because I really need the offense boost on him. But I'm seeing more and more hot Cartel teams that are just crushing me because they're Relic 7, they're Relic 8, and I don't have the squads to really deal with them. And so it's something that if I could at least get mine to Relic 7, I'm forcing my opponents to have to face a higher level team, right? I mean, I don't have the resources to do Relic 8 like that. But I could easily do 2 Relic 8s, or I could do a couple of Relic 7s. Because from a Relic material standpoint, I would say it's a wash, right? Because it's 4 Zimbital cards. It's more resources in some of the other levels that I have a lot more of. But then the impulse detectors is a significant outlay, right? Those are something that's a premium. Signal data, it's obviously cheaper for me to do 2 Relic 8s than it is to do 4 Relic 7s. But at the same time, the benefit of having a Relic 7 hot Cartel team to me is a lot more significant than having just 2 other Galactic Legends at Relic 8. At least in my mind, like that. But that's where I'm struggling, is I don't know if that's what I should be doing right now. And again, what are we waiting on? We're waiting to see what the heck they're going to do with GL Space Buns Rex. And I think like that's really this whole struggle of my GAC right now, is I would love to just do some things. But if, GL Space Buns Rex come out and they're doable, I mean, it would be hard for me to not get her because of not just the raid, but the impact she'll have outside of that, I feel, is going to be pretty big, right? It would have to be at this point, right? That they really have. This game is definitely trending in a direction. Maybe this is the real way this video should have been, is like, I'm just, why Leia is holding up everything for me. But the game is heading in this direction where you need to have the latest and greatest thing if you want to do anything, right? Not just conquest, but look at the territory battles, how many special missions they've added for these Cal Kestis characters. And to me, I think Leia's going to get similar treatment where they're going to make all this new stuff around GL Space Buns so that way they can capitalize. And so me waiting around for her is definitely going to hurt my account a little bit. But it's the safest option in the time being, rather than trying to put a lot of resources into something and then her Rex come out. Because we all know what's going to happen. I'll decide, you know what, I'm going to make the Sana Staros team. And so I'll get them, put all my relics on them, and then the next day, Leia's Rex come out, and I'm going to want to go. Yeah, I can't say that. I'll get demonetized, but you guys can use your imagination. Anyway, you guys let me know what your thoughts are. I don't know. This video kind of turned into a little bit more of why I'm just waiting on Leia, but I think those are legitimate GAC struggles that I'm having right now. So let me know what your thoughts are down below. Smash that subscribe button, leave your likes and leave your comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.